Flat Tangent has a really important question. He says, they say, I don't know, it's a he, they say, I'm having difficulty with guilt associated with taking time away from loved ones, taking up space in my home, and purchasing tools and materials to engage in making as a hobby. It engages my creativity and gives me a quote, healthy, unquote, escape, but I can't shake the feeling that those resources should be used elsewhere. My life has had many periods of relative hardship and uncertainty, and I can't shake feeling selfish even though I love it. Have you ever felt that way? So much, for so much time across my whole life. And I think everybody grapples with how to balance the resources they have with the resources that are needed from them. Everybody grapples with this. Nobody escapes this equation at all. But you're talking about, you said specifically, taking time away from loved ones. This is because when you're obsessive and committed to a thing, there's also always going to be friction with a partner or with some of your loved ones about how deep you disappear into that. And that's also something to manage. And I have managed it poorly, and I have managed it well. I have gone through all sorts of, I mean, I feel like I've lived through and tried every modality of that kind of thing. I've had big shops that took me an hour to get to. I've had tiny shops that were in my basement. I've had spectacular loft space shops in which I lived in the same space. I've had fallow periods where I did not have access to any shop. But you're specifically asking in relation to loved ones. And to me, specifically, it's a lot about having kids, is about balancing your needs with the endless, unbroken triage of raising children. Yeah, I had twins, and a lot of people, young babies, often say to me, man, I don't know how you did two. And my answer is always, I think until they can walk, twins are not harder than a single infant, because it's not the physical labor that kills you. It's the focus. It's the fact that you can never relax your focus. That's what's so crippling and exhausting. That's what gives you that 1,000-yard parent stare. And I have grappled with being present with my family while servicing my needs as a maker. Like I said, I've done it poorly. And it's natural to do it poorly. Here's this thing that gives you great succor, putting something together and assembling little parts, and your kids are screaming and your partner's taking care of it. Yeah, you should be putting that down and going and helping and changing some diapers and being part. So actually, I will say it like this, because this is my particular value of being a partner. I think of my house as a machine. I think of our house, the house my partner and I live in, as a machine. It's a machine for living in. And it gives us comfort, it gives us warmth, and it gives us cool, and it gives us sun, and it gives us food, and it cleans our laundry, and it allows us to entertain. And all these things happen in the machine that is our house. And like every machine, it needs constant maintenance. And I will tell you and admit to you that for the first 10 years of my marriage, I was absolutely gendered in what parts of that machine I was operating. I was doing home repairs all day long, but laundry, I can kind of see it from over here. And I've been working over the past 10 years to really change that, and because I don't want to be the man who's not doing the dishes or the laundry. First of all, I love doing dishes. Like, it's actually one of my favorite things. Warm water on my hands is one of the great feelings of my life. But second of all, I love the feeling, and I am engaging in it right now in my life, of operating the machine that is our house with my partner. And it feels like we're both operating. It feels like that great thing when you're working alongside someone and you both know the pace and you both know the task and you both know the method and you're just doing it. Right now in my life, I'm experiencing a really lovely period of that with my partner. And I don't, to me, that's hard won from a lot of years of examining my level of participation. Okay, that being said, that's my value of being a partner, and that might not be your value, and that's also fine. Um, but because that's my value, I have taken note of when I am present with my family and when I am not. And you can be outside your house and still be deeply present with your family. And by the same token, you can be inside your house and with your family and be nice and far away from them. I have found myself feeling more distant from my family in a shop that's in my basement of the house I live in than I did in a shop that I had to travel to. And that's not because of distance, it's solely from my mental state. So earlier in this live stream, I said, when you go to your parents' house and you gird your loins for what's about to happen, you give yourself the frame, remind yourself what you're about to deal with. My partner gave me a lovely perspective early on in Mythbusters, three years in. Show's doing great. Our budgets are getting bigger. Every day I'm doing spectacular, weird things. And I'm coming home and I'm kind of high as a kite every night. It's just an amazing job. It's incredible. And my partner was like, I really, nothing could make them happier. Nothing could make her happier than me enjoying this success and me enjoying this job. And she said, on your way home, you could think to yourself, how have things been in my house today? What has happened there? How are those people that I live with? And what have they gone through today? And the moment she said it, I saw the deep truth of holding that kind of frame with the people that you love. As somebody with ADHD, transitions are really difficult for me, moving into a space or out of a space or moving from one thing to the other. And getting that perspective of coming home and like on my drive home, and my commute was 10 minutes, but on that drive home, just thinking, I wonder how things are in my house. And instead of coming in and like throwing up your stuff and being like, hey, everybody, I'm home, you're just bringing your frame into your house and you're making your whole house deal with it, which, look, that may be great. That may be how your family operates. It's not how my family operates. And once I got that perspective and I started coming home wondering how things went in my house, I would slot in and I'd walk in and just find the machinery of my house. Okay, I'll grab these levers. Oh, we need some dinner. I'll grab these levers and make it work. It's a process. And it's a balancing act. And you're going to get it wrong and you're going to get it right. But whenever you're doing something that matters to you, it takes up some mental energy. And that's almost the point. I am able to avoid so much emotional distress at this workbench by concentrating on stuff that has nothing to do with my emotional distress at any given moment in time. Like, it's a fantastic meditation to shed the cares of the daily grind. But if I had one piece of advice, it's that there are moments to shed it, and then there are moments to grab it back. And it's important to recognize that that's part of the transition that you do as a person who lives with people that you love. And like I said, it's a process, and you're going to get some of it wrong. You're going to get some of it right. You're going to ask for feedback, and you're going to get feedback you don't like, and sometimes you're going to get feedback that changes your life. It is selfish, and that's okay. We do all need some spaces in our lives to be selfish. That's really important. And it's really important to separate those selfish spaces from the other points of our lives so that we're not constantly selfish. I don't know, I just remember This American Life about some dude who had like 5 different families. He had serially met women and impregnated them. And the This American Life episode was made from the vantage point of one of the earliest children decided to travel cross country interviewing all of her half brothers and sisters, some of whom she had never met. And when she did, she saw that of these 5 families, every single sibling she met had sort of grown up with a different version of that father because he was at different points in his life. But this guy was such a I'm just going to editorialize here, was such a freaking narcissist that late in his artistic career gave some speech that he said, I think my whole life has been me trying to make great art while the needs of my family were pulling me away from that important work. And like, my morality as a partner is that is an amoral statement. I don't have any truck with that guy, with that way of thinking, that your family is just something that's pulling your attention away from everything else. I think that's a pretty shitty way to think of your family. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to support us even further, you can by becoming a tested member. Details are, of course, below, but it includes all sorts of perks, and we're building them all the time. You get advanced word and behind-the-scenes photos of some of our projects. Questions, you get to ask direct questions during my live streams, and we have some members-only videos, including the Adam real-time series of unbroken, unedited shots of me working here in the shop. They are weirdly meditative. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you on the next one.